I'm here with Jacob Periphery to talk about Periphery 5. Djent is not a genre. Out March 10th on Three Dot Recordings. I had to stop there for a minute because I thought maybe the album is out already. I mean, I'm losing track of time. I don't know about you and this release, but are you losing track of time?
Always. I mean, I'm losing track of time just because I'm elderly now. But yeah, it's March 10th, and I am so relieved that it's coming up because this took a lot of time to get right.
So let me address the elephant in the room, and it's not me or you. It's the fact that you guys went with Djent is not a genre. What inspired that title? Is it the internet? Is it the fans? Or the trolls?
Um, I mean, I think we're the trolls in this instance, but um we uh we had a million suggestions for album title for this one and we just couldn't all get on the same page about stuff. And we finally somebody suggested that one, and we were like, all right, that's fine, we'll go with that one. But you know, it's just supposed we're just taking the piss, so to speak. And we don't actually believe that Djent isn't a genre. Like, we're totally fine with it. It's just one of those things where we like settled on something that we all liked.
So how would you define Djent? What is Djent for you?
um I mean, it's a sound. It's definitely, it comes from the onomatopoeia of like a palm muted guitar sound. But for me, I know what a gent band sounds like, and it usually has to do like with like a very certain style of drumming that has a very like heavy backbeat and like is very groove oriented. Um, and it also like has down-tuned guitars, and then there's also a lot of layering going on with like synths and guitars. And we have three guitar players because we have so many damn guitar layers that need to be performed. So um, yeah, I'd say those are the core components.
When it comes to periphery sound, and now more specifically with this new record, is there a genre? Is there an umbrella that can encapsulate everything, all the diversity that you guys are able to squeeze into one single album?
Um, I don't even know if that's the goal sometimes. I mean, yeah, we like to have a pretty diverse palette of sounds, but it's more to just kind of like make the songs kind of stand on their own. So that way you're not listening to like a lot of the same sort of flavor throughout an entire album. So I think that comes out of that approach, but it's never like too deliberate to kind of cram in all of our sort of like influences and the things we want to do musically. It just kind of comes organically.
And on as a sequence to that, is it difficult to put an album structure together that makes sense for you, that you believe it's going to make sense for the fans when you have that kind of diversity involved?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, we want to make sure that the album is balanced, much like any sort of anything that you'd create. You don't want too much of one thing in a row, and you want peaks and valleys in terms of dynamics. And yeah, we'll end up writing way more than we could fit on one album. So we end up like picking the all the vibes that haven't been done after we pick a song. So like, say we have a really heavy song. Then after that, we'll kind of want something that may be more like middle of the road periphery, where it's like it's got rock elements and ambient stuff. And then, we see what spaces need to be filled as we, chronologically go through the album track list.
When it comes to the creative process for you guys coming into a record, how much has the band changed in terms of that approach when it's time to sit down and create new material?
I'd say like in the last couple records, like Periphery 3 and Periphery 4, we were doing it one way and it worked really well. Everything just kind of slid into place, and we everything was a lot easier. But when we did Periphery 5, I think the band got to a point where like we needed to change something up because we were we knew, at least within the band, we consider Periphery 4 to be like our most solid album. And so like we were like, well, it's going to be tough to top that one just because some years have gone by, and we're kind of struggling writing stuff. And so I think we realized after we were a pretty good way of the way done with the album that we needed to kind of take a second look at with like a full band approach. Like we all worked on all the other albums together, but we'd work on it in our like in segments. So the first segment would be the three guitar players getting together and kind of carving out some riffs or some arrangements and getting some songs going. And then we'd bring in Spencer and Matt to take a look at arrangements, and like it was just like kind of like this segmented approach where now I think with Periphery 5 we realize that at this stage in the game for Periphery we all need to be in the same room writing, arranging all at the same time, because once we started doing that, then those songs really started to come to life. So that's kind of like the new era that we're in, where I think whenever we do Periphery 6, we're probably going to just like do it all at once and all at the same time.
Do you guys ever think about how the songs will work in a live setting when you're creating them for the record, or is that an afterthought?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like sometimes one of us will be jamming on a riff and somebody will be like, "Oh, that's gonna sound really good live." You could just kind of know, just because we've been doing this for so long, that it's like pretty easy to tell when something's gonna crush live. So that's definitely a consideration. If somebody writes a really heavy riff or something that's gonna sound good live, it's like, oh, we got to figure out how to keep that riff in this song, you know?
Do you guys create music just as an excuse to go touring, to hit the road and have some fun? Or is there some part of you that really needs that creative outlet of actually creating the album and thinking about it and going through all the processes?
I think that's our favorite part. I can't really. I'm not like 100% sure that that's that way, but like I think that's everybody's favorite part of being in the band. It's just kind of writing the music, getting together, doing all the things that kind of go around creating music, which is a lot of hanging out and playing video games and going out to dinner and stuff. Just kind of like hanging with your friends, and then somehow we find time to write an album together. So I think that's the main focus, is just kind of like friends first, and then music second, and then touring third.
Did you have a vision, or do you come into an album with a vision, guitar wise, of what do you want the sound to be, or maybe certain things that you picked up in between records that you want to try out on this new album? What is your thought process?
I guess it's like whatever is inspiring at the time. We'll usually work at Misha's house, and he's got a just a great selection of amps and guitars and various other tools that we just kind of play with and see what inspires us. It's like I don't know how often it is that like somebody has a sound in their head and then they want to like try to recreate it in real time, and kind of it's more of like, yeah, let's turn this on and see how good we can get it to sound. And that's kind of our approach with the guitar tone. And yeah, there were a lot of different amps on this album, and uh we reamped almost every song, and it was a lot of fun.
The album starts off and you guys throw us some jazz. I was honestly hoping that you guys would have Kenny G as a feature. Turns out maybe it wasn't possible. But it was really cool to have that as the opening track. Is that something that we'll see more of it in the future, or sometimes too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing?
I don't know. I mean, that's tough to say. I was really happy that our buddy Jurgen did the sax solo on that. Like, I think that made that section go from like, okay, that's kind of cute, to this section is awesome now, and I'm really happy that he did that. But as far as like shoehorning in a jazz section or some kind of like departure from our regular genre, like it's all about like what the song needs. So I'm sure stuff like that will happen again, but it never starts out as like, hey guys, I want to put like, this like classical waltz section like we don't do it like that. It's just kind of like, okay, the song needs to go somewhere, let's get creative.
When you guys are sitting down creating music together, do you look at the songs as we need to create a track that has a sense of focus and keeps the eye on the prize, or do you guys think more of let everybody see this as an open canvas, and then every person that listens to the song can kind of draw out whatever conclusions they want from the experience of listening to it?
um yeah, I think I like that. I've always liked music to be more interpretive, and I don't think that like we do anything like with really any deliberate intention with other than like how it makes us feel. So like, I think we've gotten pretty good at figuring out what will resonate with the people that listen to our music. And so we just kind of go based on like instinct.
Just whatever feels in the gut, go with the gut.
Yeah, yeah. It's never like super premeditated. I know some bands are like that where they just have like they hear something in their head and they're able to kind of like extract that as a complete idea. And I think we just sit in front of the computer and kind of like add to this blank canvas as, from our palette of available colors. That's like the best way I can put it. It's very abstract.
Talking to you about the making of this album, I get the feeling that a lot of the things that you guys do are very organic in terms of what feels right in the right moment at the right time. Is there any part of the process that is a little bit more structured that you guys actually have to have pen to paper, sort of speak, in order to not let it fall off the rails?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be the mixing portion and like the kind of sound design portion of the writing process where we have a full arrangement, we have vocals, and then we need to like kind of figure out how to like fill in the spots that may need to have a little bit more of like a uh, wide wider sound, or to add ambience or to add counterpoint. That's when like we start to get a little academic about it. And then when we move on to like the mixing portion, then it's all, as you said, pen to paper. We're making endless mix notes and just trying to get everything EQ'd and making sure the volumes are correct for the layers, and it's just that's a lot of intense work from everybody in the band. We have a shared document that we all add our mix notes to, and everybody participates.
How do you define yourself as an artist, as a guitar player?
Define myself?
Yeah, are you like a guitar geek? Are you one of those guys that geeks out about gear and guitars and toning and
Yeah, I'm way more casual about it than I'd say most of my peers are. Like, I feel like and I don't want this to come off as like a insult because it's not, but it's just like I feel like the whole scene is just super saturated with all of these great players, and they're all saying the stuff I want to say. So like I don't really need to like kind of participate. You know what I mean? It's just like it's already, I love playing guitar. I love like seeing everybody like kind of put their voice out there, and a lot of people have signature products. I even have signature products, and it's really nice. So like I may not get as like geeky about it and study it as much as everyone else does, but I'm just happy to kind of be along for the ride. And um I'm very, very grateful that I get to kind of hang around all of these great musicians. I know that like I'm okay, but like these guys, everyone in the scene is like is great, and I'm in a very fortunate position. So I'm basically like a casual hobbyist that just won the lottery.
that's the most humble couple of sentences I've heard in a very long time from a musician. I don't even know what to
I
say to that.
I love music, and I'm just so lucky that my friends they love music as much as I do. They just they figure out cooler ways to kind of get their voices out there, and I
And they
love it.
just let you participate.
Yeah, exactly. They trust me, and I feel grateful for that.
Do you have a favorite Periphery song to play live?
Um, Tough right now. With a new album coming out, I'm sure it's probably going to be one of those. But um, we've been playing Atropos on this tour we just started, and that's that's a lot of fun. It seems like it comes across pretty cool. And I'd say right now, Reptile was on our last album, and it's a really long song, but it doesn't feel like a really long song. It's just kind of one of those sort of it's like an Opeth effect where like Opeth will have a 10-minute long song and it'll feel like 3 minutes when it's over. And it's a great ride for me. But yeah, I'd say Reptile right now.
One last question for you. I know for every band, their latest record is their greatest record ever, but I know you mentioned Periphery 4, but I have to ask you anyways, which one is the album that better defines, maybe not the best album for the band, but the one that better defines the band?
Um, Man, that's a good question. I think that I think Periphery 3 was when we really like figured out our sound because you could hear us kind of figuring it out on Juggernaut, but there were some mixed things and there was kind of that was a concept album, so we really couldn't like the songs had to tell the story and there was a lot going on there. And then Periphery 3 was kind of every song had its own personality and I'd say that was like where the band really started to find its stride. As far as best representing us right now, definitely Periphery 5, just because it was a really hard album to write and record. And I think it might be like another type of Periphery 3 situation where, you know, we found a new way to do something when we hit a wall and we succeeded getting past that wall. And Periphery 5 is 100% that. And I'm really excited to see people's reactions to it because, you know, it's important to us that we don't repeat ourselves, but it's just as important to us that we don't alienate everyone who has gotten into Periphery for a specific reason. So trying to figure out what that sounds like is a huge challenge.
Yeah, it seems like a big undertaking. I mean, you try to fit two sides of the same coin in one single side. That's not always an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Jake, thank you very much for your time, man. Go back doing whatever it is that you're doing. I enjoyed the stroll.
I'm walking around a parking lot.
I enjoyed the view. I enjoyed the stroll. I enjoyed talking to you. It was a blast. So,
Yeah,
best of
man.
luck with the release on March 10th, and see you soon on the road.
Yeah, yeah. I'll see you soon. Thanks again.
Take care, man. All the best.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.